Mike Gardner, we are talking about the song Sum of Parts, which is the last vocal song on the second On These Airwaves album. And like all the songs, it has two names. And I said, Mike, what would be a good second name for Sum of Parts? And I remember you came up and you said, multiply and divide.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did say that. And I thought, perfect. So the second name to this song is Multiply and Divide. But it really was more perfect than you realized, because when you listen to the song, it really is about a family, the dynamics in a family, or at least that's the way that I wrote it. You know, the first lines about the father: Father Downs repeating shots, red-eye dream vacation, ponders his life, his education, chalk it up, it's not a lot. And we're all some of the parts that we've been taught. So do your teaching well. Life can't be bought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always like that.
Yeah. And then the part about the mother is mother ignites her habit stick, faded gold, dirty skirt, condemns her life, her daily hurt, goodbye dreams, mother's sick. Yeah.
Well, you know, the first lines in each of those verses, it can easily be viewed from a militaristic point of view.
Oh, really? They can?
Yeah. Well, but yeah. Read that last line.
Mother,
she ignites.
Yeah. Her habit stick.
Her habit stick.
Yeah.
Now, the habit stick gives an indication of the real thing that you mean to say. But to ignite.
Yeah, that's right. It sure
means boom.
Yeah. You know, I get, and that is the great thing here. You and I collaborated on this, and you know, even though the album is really a album focused a lot on war, I didn't view it that way. I viewed it, more as she's lighting her cigarette, and that's the obvious thing. But you're right; it does have that sub meaning. And the family is all sitting around the kitchen table, and what have they got? Not a lot.
Right. And of course, repeating shots would be a machine gun.
Be a machine gun, or taking the drinks.
Right,
So
and of course that's what we want to say.
Yes.
But we wanted to give options for the listener.
Another thing I just wanted to comment, when we recorded this song, I think I just played an acoustic guitar with capo on too, and the guitar was tuned down a half a step, so everything down a half step but with a capo. But in the studio where we were recording this, Dave Atwater's studio, he had an acoustic guitar that was strung with Nashville tuning. And I remember grabbing it and starting playing. I said, boy, this sounds great. So this guitar that I have here, this Alvarez, was not the one that I used because I just borrowed his, for that evening. But for the uneducated, the Nashville tuning is where you take the lower four strings and you replace them with the highest four strings of another. So this would normally be an E, but it's a D string. Right. This would be an A, it's a G string. Okay. And so forth and so on. The strings 1 and 2 are the D and the B that you normally would find on any guitar. But the point of the matter is it makes for a very higher type of sound.
Yeah.
And it comes through. So and it really cuts through the song, I think, very, very nicely.
And one of the reasons it cuts through is because it has its own octaves. Mm-hmm. Everything, regular guitar is lower than that. Of course, the bass is lower.
Right.
But almost, it's the highest strung guitar.
Yeah. So I thought that was just a happy accident that happened that night, because that guitar happened to be sitting in his studio.
I know.
And then just grabbing it and playing it, I think added
it was nice for him to leave it out there.
Yeah. Little did he know we were going to be hijacking it and then using it. And then at the end of the song, I wanted to, because this is really kind of the exit song, although there's one more instrumental afterwards. But this is the big exit song, and with any album, you kind of want that end to be somewhat, something that people can remember And so I remember these lyrics. Were the ones that you think you thought you know, were the sculptures of the world you mold, were the end of what you think you thought you saw it, were the world in which you thought you bought. And then that's what's repeated over and over at the very end of the song. And you hear Dave Adams on the keyboard playing some beautiful keyboard parts over top of that as well. So it's a long song, but we'll stop it when we get to those places. So shall we listen?
Please.
Kind of to me sounds old world.
Yes.
Like an old world type of song. Something out of the old country in a way, and you can see, people.
Oh.
What? Mike Slayer, photographer's here. What?
Well, those little Greek boxes.
Oh, yes, accordions. Yeah, kind of
Squeeze box. Yeah.
a squeeze box. Yeah,
Squeeze.
yeah. So.
I think a little bit of that comes from the minstrel quality of that guitar.
Yeah, I think you're right. That kind of gets you thinking that way.
It's more like a lute almost than a guitar.
That's right. And then you hear that and it kind of makes it sound like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we come into the vocal part.
Father downs, repeating shots, red-eye dream vacation, ponders his life, his education, chalk it up, it's not a lot, we're all some of the parts that we've been taught. So do your teaching well, life can be bought. Life can be bought. Mother ignites, her habits stick, faded gold, dirty skirt, condemns her life, her daily hurt, goodbye dreams, mother's sick, we're all some of the parts that we've been taught. So do your teaching well, life can be bought. No, life can be bought. At the talking table.
Yeah, we just said before we come into this bridge, that was a perfect little roll on probably the floor tom by
The appropriate drum,
the
for
appropriate
sure.
drum
Yeah.
at the appropriate time, and it's just one of those little things that I always catch and just
It's just very musical and instinctive, isn't
instinctive
it?
and
Yeah.
musical. And then we heard Dave Adams making those little
Yeah.
So so here's the bridge part.
Products us to his world, her world, it's their tale, not our point of view.
Now I'm going to say we're going in the very last part, which is an extended part, and that's this sus type of. That's that extended part, and it just builds and builds and builds with vocals on top of one another, and the beautiful orchestration. And I think to me, every time I hear it, I enjoy it more and more.
Yeah, good.
our point of view. We're the sculptures of the world you mold. We're the world in which you thought you bought. We're the sculptures of the world you mold. We're the world in which you thought you bought. We're the sculptures of the world you mold. We're the world in which you thought you bought. We're the sculptures of the world you mold.
Very pretty, really pretty.
I love the long fade out.
It has to have that long fade, doesn't
The
it?
long fade is perfect. And I think Dave Atkinson actually came up with that final line, I need you to hold me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I need you to hold me. That's the line that's sung over and over as we fade out of that. I need you to hold me. And it gives me chills, listening to that song. And, if you give it the time and let it get through it, and then you
Yeah.
get to that long, and what Dave Adams is doing on the
Yeah.
keys, it's just a beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, everybody felt that similar sensitivity.
Yeah. And the thought was that this would be that very well could have been the last song on the record,
Right.
and it really was the last vocal song on the record. But there was something special that you and I did that ended up being the finale. So
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a moment.